board of directors has decided to cancel the license issue to hold this type of concert that contradicts the cultural identity of the Egyptian people. Very based, very good, wonderful stuff, and we should seek to emulate that sort of thing in the West. After Egypt, Muslim leaders of Egypt. No, it doesn't. But they're right about this issue. All I do is win, no matter what.
See, they're
just like Xi Jinping can be right about a thing or two, also. And in humility, we can look toward other cultures and try to take the best of what they're doing and try to learn from them. And in the West, in recent years, the occult imagery that has cropped up is so bizarre and so overt. Sam Smith dancing around as a devil. All of this kind of imagery. It's much more prominent in the West than it used to be. And we seem to have lost the ability to say no to it. Now we have Baphomet statues inside public spaces, inside government buildings, well, in the name of religious liberty. Now we have satanic clubs in elementary schools. We've reported on it on this show before. Openly, overtly. And why is this happening? Because we in the liberal West have lost the ability to say no. And other nations that many of the liberals would deride as authoritarian, ironic because the liberals are much more authoritarian than anybody else in the country, certainly more so than the conservatives. Some of those other nations that have a deeper political tradition and that look a little deeper than consent as the be-all and end-all moral criterion for public policy, and who recognize that there are other things and other virtues to take into account as well in policy. They just look at that and they say, oh no, you got the satanic singer and he wants to sing by the pyramid? Yeah, no thanks. That's not in line with our values in Egypt. Conservatives, I think, need to learn that lesson. We need to be able to say, no thanks. Religious liberty doesn't give religious liberty, certainly not as the founders and framers understood it, doesn't give you any right to have a Baphomet doll in a public space. It doesn't give you a right to practice Satanism. It doesn't give you a right to have a satanic club in an elementary school. It doesn't give you a right to perform all sorts of other sick, bizarre rituals. They're sometimes overtly occult and sometimes are merely implicitly so in the weird ideologies that the libs are forcing everywhere, especially in the month of June. We should just say no to that. And we need to figure out, well, on what grounds can we say no? Liberalism exalts consent and individual autonomy above all else. And the consequence of that is it erodes the cultural foundation that allowed it to operate in the first place. What are we going to replace that with? As we think a little bit more deeply about what it means to be conservative, what it means to be an American, what it means to live in the West, which used to be known. Speaking of conservative messages for the Trump campaign, Steve Bannon showed up a few days ago at the Turning Point Action Conference, and Bannon went pretty far in the theme for the Trump campaign.
This is a crusade! This is a holy war against the deep state! Donald Trump is our instrument for retribution! I don't want to hear Glenn Youngkin in a vest. I don't want to hear Kemp with his George accent. I don't want to hear it. Donald Trump is our instrument for righteous indignation.
But Steve, what do you really think? I just wish he wouldn't be so reticent. You know, he's such a wallflower. You think, it's a holy war, it's a crusade. What's going on? Bannon was the top strategist to Trump for at least part of the 2016 race. He worked in the White House for Trump. He left the White House, sort of booted out, then he came back into Trump's orbit. So what exactly is going on here? Is this the Trump campaign theme? Is this just Steve Bannon going off? What this is the Trump campaign testing campaign messages and campaign themes without it coming out of Trump's mouth. That's where we are right now. We are so early on. I know a lot of people want to say the primary is over, the election is over, just move on, it's all done. We are so far away, not only from the general election, but even from the Iowa caucuses. This is still silly season in politics. And so you're going to see Trump and DeSantis and Vivek Ramaswamy and other guys just throw spaghetti at the wall. And one safe way to do it, as I've pointed out before, this primary is defined, I think, by everyone playing it safe. right now. Trump's not showing up to a candidate forum with Tucker Carlson. Ron DeSantis is playing his role as Trump 2.0. He's not veering too far off that script, which has proven to work in the past. The only candidate who is really getting a little bit eccentric and creative is Vivek Ramaswamy. He's the only one being rewarded for it, too, because his poll numbers are increasing pretty dramatically. Everyone is playing it safe. All the other candidates who are in the single digits right now, they're just playing it safe. So the safe way to test out campaign themes is to do so through surrogates like Steve Bannon. We'll see if that one plays. It might be a little bit much for the voters in Pennsylvania and New Hampshire, but maybe not. It depends how fervent the populist appetite of the country is.